guys? Conquer the King 995 here, or Lord Conquer 26, Sean Barker 69, whatever the hell you know me as, whatever, yada yada yada. Today I'm in 7 days, or not 7 days to die, fucking wrong game, I'm sorry about that. I am in DayZ, and I am here to, I guess, give a few tips, a few tricks in, DayZ. One tip slash trick that you may not know is that if you have a can of food that is not like the can of tuna with the pull tab or anything like that, if you have a machete, stone knife, crowbar, almost any melee weapon in the game, you can open the canned food. If you pay attention to my little bar right there on my food, you can see that it went down just a tad bit. And that is because when you use a melee weapon such as a machete, like a big old machete, you have a chance of losing some of your food that you have in there. Oops, sorry, there's a zombie. See, this is a perfect example right now. Oh yeah, and another tip you may not know is if you have a firearm or if you have a big melee weapon, you can actually equip it back up here to your equipment so it doesn't take up your inventory space in your jacket, your pants, your hoodie, your backpack, whatever you have. And it'll show on your back. Now, you see, with the can of tuna, this can of tuna, all you gotta do is just press the right R2 to open the can, and then you just eat it, and you have all the food. With melee weapons, if you do not have a can opener, or, basically a can opener to open food, you have a chance of losing some of the canned food, or whatever that you have inside that can or bottle. To avoid this, well, you can see I don't have it on me. I don't have a can opener, but if I had a can opener, if I opened it, I would get all of the contents of the can slash bottle guaranteed. Or not bottle, but the tin can slash the metal can, whichever you prefer. Another tip I also have is to always keep your food and your hunger high, because you never want to be out in the middle of a town or in the middle of the night in the forest or so with no food, no means of eating, no means of drinking, no means of self-defense too, because you always want to be able to defend yourself. Some of you may not know this if you do watch my channel. That is DayZ. It does not tell you a lot of things. DayZ is one of those games to where it throws you in and it doesn't tell you what all you can do, what all you can craft, what to use in what situation. So you're ended up having to learn some of these things through trial and error and just basically googling them or watching videos like you're probably watching mine. Anyway, I'm sorry guys, trying to look for a bag of garden lime so I can plant some zucchini, because I'm gonna try and plant a little zucchini garden. Another tip that you can do in DayZ. Why not do one vital piece of information in DayZ that I feel like not many people may know right off the bat? Is if you're in a town, like a very large, built up place, or you're in if you're in a military camp, one thing you do not want to do is fire off a firearm, because that can draw all the zombies in the base or in the town towards you. And another tip you may not know is that you can fight with literally anything. So if you have like a plastic bottle in your hands, you can fight off a zombie with the plastic bottle in your hands, as you saw me do with the can of baked beans. How I just fought off a zombie using them. You're not told things like this. You kind of have to like either Google them or figure them out yourself. Let's see here. Another tip / trick that you may not know that you could do is, or well, not really do, but I guess learn. What the heck is this? Sorry guys, that stuff. A campfire tripod, nice. Okay, so a campfire tripod, as you if you probably read, that I can suspend this over a campfire if I make one to hold cooking equipment such as a pot, a frying pan. Imagine you can probably get a frying pan and things like that over a campfire. So if you wanted to boil water, you wanted to cook food, you know, things like that. Another, I guess, tip that you should know in this game is that this game is very, very realistic. So if you just run around and eat human flesh, you're probably gonna go crazy. If you drink murky swamp water, you're probably going to get sick. Let's see here. So I guess one tip I would give is if you're trying to think of how to do something in this game, think of it like in a realistic point of view. Like if you're gonna start a campfire, think about how you would start a campfire in real life. And to start a campfire, you would need, in this game, you will need you'll need bark, cloth, basically anything that could be used to make a campfire normally in real life if you don't have, I suppose, basically if you're making a campfire out in the woods, out of, I guess, your surroundings is how I'd put it. But in this game also, you can, if you wander around long enough, you will eventually find firearms and things like that laying on the ground. Now I do feel like this is a very important, I do feel like that's a very important piece of information. There's my garden line. But I do feel like that is a very important piece of information. That you will find firearms, things like that, just out in the middle of basically like towns, streets, middle of the floor, basically in houses, buildings, hospitals, police stations, etc. You know, things like that. That scared the crap out of me. Hopefully I don't die. Oh look, I got some matches. Let's take it. Okay. So, another big piece of information that you should know about this game is that when you first spawn, you'll get one piece of food, one piece of one kind of drink, and what else? You get a road flare and a stone knife. You may get a few other things, but I'm not too sure right now. Sorry guys, this is my first time planting. I'm still learning. I just got the game on it probably like a day or two after it first came out. sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out where I left that garden lime. Oh yeah, it's over here, is it not? Yes, it was. But, oh yeah, and what may or may not be obvious is that you can also search cars. And when you go to a car, you see I have an alcoholic tincture. You can search cars, and I bet you're wondering, well, can I find cars that I can drive around and then, like, build up, fix up, basically things like that. And the answer is yes, you can do that. You can do all of that. You can find cars that you can build up. You can open up car trunks, doors, things like that to find where you want to find items from, and you can find items in almost any car. Unless you cannot open the doors, which then, well, can't open the doors, I suppose. But, one more thing I should mention about this game is that this game has a very complicated... like, it's not... like, this game does not tell you how to do anything. You're basically thrown in with no tutorial. The most of a tutorial you get is if you go to your options. Oh, I'm sorry, not options. You go to tutorials, and then it'll tell you the basics. Let me get to this. Let me get to this Russian mosque over here. And before I go read off the tutorials inside this Russian mosque, one small piece of information about this game that you may not know: that this game is based in Russia. And, well, looks like I'm just gonna have to sit in here for a minute. But, if you're ever like me and you're in a situation like this, to where you get attacked and there's two or more zombies behind you, and you don't feel confident, like you can fend them off, because, of course, I know I have a shotgun. I know I have a pistol, I know I have an SK, I know I have a machete, I know I have a shovel, I know I have all those things. I know I have a lot of ammo. If you're in a situation like I am right now and you're stuck in a building, or you're stuck with zombies behind you, I recommend going into a building, shack, whatever you can, and get the door open and close it before the zombie can get in there. And if you sit in there, don't make noise for a little bit. Make sure they're gone, or not. You can actually run away when they're not around you, or they go away or wander off. But if you're like me and you hide for a minute and come out and they're still there, you can try to run anyway. But if they follow you, like mine did, you can just turn around and beat them over the head with a shovel if you have it. And another good piece of information is that you can find melee weapons in this game. These things can be like machetes, shovels, pickaxes, hatchets, splitting axes, stone knives, kitchen knives, steak knives, etc., etc. But this game is based in a town in Russia, yes. Of course, a fictionalized town in Russia. And one tiny more piece of information you were not told is that if you can see, like, when I had my shovel out, I couldn't pick up this Mad Monk kvass, which if you do look at the can, I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is a picture of Rasputin. If you don't know who Rasputin is, he was a Mad Monk during I think around times of World War I, before the Russian Revolution. And basically he grew up, became a really religious figure, and he had sex with the queen, basically sex with royals, because he convinced them that he could heal them and things like that. He had sex, he had power, he had money, he did drugs. Basically, he was this really lustful, hunger for power, outrageous man. And he was killed by princes, by men of higher standing. Basically, if you don't know who Rasputin is, I just kind of gave you a quick rundown on Rasputin, and I recommend you go check him out after this video, because he's quite the individual. Now for the, and if you do find an item such as the alcoholic tincture, like we found earlier, if you hover over it, it'll give you a quick explanation of what this can be used for. So for the alcoholic tincture, it says home-proven alcohol-based tincture with herbal extracts used to disinfect scratches, wounds, and other things. So if you have a scratch or you have a wound, you can disinfect it, obviously, like it says. But you can probably use this for other things. And for the Mad Monk Kvass, I know I'm probably butchering that word. It says fermented drink, not quite a beer, and it's not quite, and it is not easy to get drunk on these due to lower alcohol content. So this has the alcohol in it, but it's not enough to be considered beer. But it is carbonated, I believe. Oh no, it's fermented, not carbonated. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck on your first day and first night. Remember, don't go out during the night which people out at night are usually noobs or hardcore players like yourself who are not afraid of the dark. But if you find yourself, one more quick tip for in the video, if you ever find yourself out in the middle of nowhere late at night, I do not recommend being in the woods, because the woods, well, unless you can find a house or a shack, anything will do that you can hide in and wait the night out, or probably loot. That way, if you don't have a road flare, glow stick, headlamp, oil lamp, things like that to give you light, you can actually just take cover in a building and then wait the night out, or search it and then keep on your way. But just remember, the two kinds of people who are usually out at night are noobs and hardcore players that do not fear the night. And the night can be dangerous. Very dangerous. Zombies could come out of nowhere, players could see you walking down the road and snipe you while you're holding your little torch, flashlight, whatever you got. So, before I go, remember, stay inside during night unless you have a light source and you are brave enough and think that you can survive. And yeah, I'll leave it off at that, and you guys have a good night. Okay guys, one more tiny little piece of information I forgot to mention is that to check when you do find weapons or firearms in the game, to check if it has ammo in it, alright, or a clip, make sure you put it in your hands. And to check if it has ammo, you can see I have the little a bullet outline on the top left corner. Now, if it has that, it has ammo in it. And check if it has a magazine. If you hover over the magazine icon, and it has magazine like mine does, it has a magazine. And if the firearm you found does not have a magazine, do not worry, because you can find a magazine for your firearm. And if you are wondering how to put the magazine in your firearm, I'm sorry, I'm really tired tonight, and you don't know how to do that, make sure you load your clip with bullets and then just press triangle when you have your weapon out. Your character will put your clip in your gun and then cock it back to put one in the chamber. So yeah, I figured I'd give you guys a short little tutorial on how to survive your first night, and few tips, few tricks, etc, etc. Anyway,